Hello, welcome. My name is Dr. John Bush. This is the process. My lessons will be based on a lot of material that I generate every year. Winning your fantasy football draft's a comprehensive textbook. I mainly play redraft, but I do have one dynasty team. I do it for various reasons, certainly not for winning. I've never won a dynasty championship. Pretty much all my eggs are in the redraft baskets, and I've done quite well uh, with that world. I am a professor of biology. I've been basically in school since 1977. Got my BS, MS, and PhD, and I switched sides and became a university professor in 1995. I have tenure. I'm a full professor now. I've graduated many graduate students who got their PhD. Part of the academic process in research is you clone yourself, and I think I've done that. If you're curious about some of my science research or want to come work in my research lab, you can go to Google Scholar, search my name out. And the organism I study is Dictyostelium discoideum. It's called the slime mold. Slimy Dr. Bush, that would be me. So you can check that out. But my fun is playing fantasy football. I've been playing it for many a year, and I love the application of the scientific approach and other aspects that I've taught myself along the way. And this is lesson one. I hope to have a lot of lessons here. So the lessons are based on aspects of systems analysis. Fantasy football is a system. Okay, it's not one part, it's a series of moving parts together, and that makes understanding fairly complex. Most people, unless you're a systems analyst for a living, it's very hard to look kind of from a top-down view and understand uh, this journey here we call fantasy football. I apply the scientific method. Uh, what I've really consider are decisions under uncertainty. We face as fantasy football players high levels of uncertainty. Some may say, what about risk? Risk is a defined, almost academic term that all the outcomes are known, right? You roll the dice, okay, 1 to 12. Actually, was it 2 to 12, I guess, if you have two dice, or 1 to 6 if you have one dice. That's it. There's no extra numbers coming in there. Okay, so you know your chances of rolling a 6, a 5, a 4, etc. So uh, there's no uncertainty. I rolled the dice. This is the environment. This is the results. This is my risk. Uncertainty means we don't even know all the parameters. Is it 2 dice or is it 20 dice? We don't know. We play the game and find out. Uh-oh, I don't understand all that. There's very few that I've found in fantasy sports that understand the entire landscape. I don't understand the entire landscape. Okay? I'm struggling with that all the time. Think about it. We make decisions when we don't know all the parameters. That requires a lot of self-reflection, and the selection process to be in media, I don't think there's enough self-reflection. I think people don't want to hear about self-reflection. Just give me the answers quick. Many of my students, Dr. Bush, tell me the answer for the test. Save me some time. So they're saying, Dr. Bush, give me the fire and I'll chop the wood later. My philosophy, obviously, I'm an academic, is teaching you to chop the wood, and then, you go from there. So part of the process in the pundits and fantasy is, do they really want to teach you how to chop the wood? Or they just want you to come back and click and get ads and however they make their money? Okay. So think about that a little bit. So I'm going to call this lesson 1 just an introduction. And here's the take home. And we're going to kind of start off with personal factors. The lesson here, the take home, the behavior of 90% is working to create advantage for the 10%. Okay, so most people are helping us win in our leagues, right? They're doing all sorts of non-prudent approaches. The old adage, and I know probably many of you have played poker, what was it, Amarillo Slim maybe, said if you sit down at the poker table and you look around for the sucker and you can't figure it out, it probably means you're the sucker. And you should probably leave at that point. So in your journey, we try to not be the sucker. So that's what I think this means, is most people are, and the few are not, and they will disproportionately, there's luck involved, right? The football is a odd-shaped pigskin that bounces funny. The last play, a Hail Mary, you lose your championship. What can you say? So behavior of the others is helping you win, but you need to take advantage of that. And so it requires a focus. Some people may say it takes some of the fun out. If you want to play fantasy for fun, then probably this is not your journey, listening to Dr. Bush drone on about things. This is for those who would like to consider moving to that next step. It does take a little fun out of it. Slot machines are fun. Playing blackjack and poker and making money is tough. So, decide what you want to do in this world. But think about it. I've tried to play in leagues where people are worse than me. I don't apologize for that. I'm here to make money. So I tend to play in public leagues. I tend to play at very low levels of investment. Game theory says if you have an advantage over the game, you should play as much as you can, as cheap as you can. If you do have a negative advantage over the game, you should take all your bankroll, put it on black or red, and spin and hope you hit and walk out the door. The longer you play with a negative advantage, the more your bankroll deteriorates. That's just the way it is. That's game theory. So I do the opposite. I tend to play 50 leagues or more. I play in leagues where it's not a lot of money to enter, but proportionally, I win enough to make money and have a rate of return. And that's, to me, is the bottom line. Put the money in my pocket. Okay, that's why I'm playing fantasy sports, not for fun. If I want fun, I'll play slot machines or something. Okay, behavior, 90% is working to create an advantage for hopefully us, you, me, that's listening. So winning is difficult because it's one of these endeavors that is hard, because one misstep could cost you a championship. One bad trade. 10 minutes late on hearing a really key piece of news on injury. You've got to stay 24/7 during the season. It is draining. Okay? Keep well hydrated, plenty of snacks, keep your blood sugar in your brain going. You have to have conviction and commitment. Part of the reason I do my 1,000 or so new pages of data and research every year is that's my commitment. I learn. So the textbook's not to make any money. I assure you of that. It helps me think, learn, consider new ways and approaches to win this game. Most people, again, the 90%, don't have the self-awareness, or they have the self-awareness, but they don't modify their actions. Well, I know I'm bad at Dynasty, but I love to horse around and maybe I'll get lucky one day. Okay. Many try to minimize their strengths and try to soar with their weakness. Exact opposite. We should soar with our strengths and manage our weaknesses. Unfortunately, a lot of our institutions, as humans, we actually do the opposite. And you think about that. Think about the company you're working at, or academia or government. Are we playing to our weaknesses and stifling our strengths? I think we would be different if we did the opposite. And you need to get deep into that. I'm not, bringing that up now. That a little bit too much philosophy. But anyway, that's why most people don't have the conviction. I'm going to work on this 4 hours a day the entire year. Okay? I don't know if it's 4 hours for me, but it's certainly multiple hours a week working on it. I've learned a lot along the way. I'm really good at Excel, good at PowerPoint, these kind of things. So most people don't. They're not aware. They try to play all Dynasty when they lose and forget redrafts. If you're good at redraft, play it. If you're not good at Dynasty, don't. Can you make money at best ball? Do that. Okay? Quit trying to be something you can't be. You're saying, well, I want to be. Okay. Well, then there are procedures and processes to move from the can't to maybe I can. But it's going to require commitment and conviction. Hopefully these lessons will help you out here. So the only asset we really have is ourselves, the traits, things that make us who we are. You make your own rules about yourself, okay, and how you approach things. So you become, in other words, God. When you're God, it's easy to change the rules. Well, they don't apply to me. 90% working for the 10. The book is Personality Traits of Traders, Gamblers. Okay, so that would be a good book I would recommend, but I think Dr. Anderson has a good approach there. So it's easy to avoid the self-discipline. Okay, oh, I'll wait. It's too early to draft. Some of my studies show I'm actually better at some of my earlier drafting in May and June versus August. How could that be? I think the competition gets tougher because there's more common information, and everybody has had the sleepers and all the information that comes out, and more people are paying attention. If you're like me and you're always on task, then you probably have advantages early before that information becomes common, right? The most important book in your library is the ones you haven't read. Okay, you think about that. So our minds will play tricks if we don't have a process. Oh, I'll play $100 here in this league and $10 over there. It needs to be a systematic approach. Well, I'll go for this or go for that, or I'll, love watching them play, so I want them on my team. And I know you've heard that, you can't be a fan of teams and still draft if you are biased towards certain players or teams. You do kind of lose some of that fandom that probably brought us all in. Only a few will win, right? The 10%. It could be 9%. It could be 11%. I don't know. That's kind of a threshold here. So there's always those, if you play in family leagues, you know who's winning, who's always not winning, right? Who's always in the playoffs. Again, we're trying to get you to the winning 10%. At least show you a journey. Does it mean it's the only journey? No, not at all. It's just the journey that I follow. And you can maybe take some lessons from it. So I used inquiry-based learning. I ask questions and then try to investigate the questions. I try to then create in experiments. These are statistical and data-based. I don't do as much discussion. If you can find some people that are good at aspects of this, that would, forming your own syndicate would be great. It's kind of hard to find those that are as serious as probably I am. You need to reflect on what you found, and hopefully there's new questions. So questions should drive the journey. You do not let the data drive the questions. That's the exact opposite of the scientific method. We are not data in search of questions. We are questions in search of data to determine. And in science, it's more falsification than really proving. You hear, well, science proved that. Well, really in science, things stand until we prove something false. So it's a whole philosophy of thinking, epistemology, falsification. A guy named Karl Popper. You might look up some of his work on falsification. So, to me, through the time that I've been, the last 7 years, training, figuring out data, and of course, I've been learning the scientific methods since I started as a biologist in 1977. So I've been doing this quite some time. Okay. So that gives me some advantage. I'm used to thinking about questions, trying to investigate, using inquiry-based learning. Okay. I've had years of that. That helps me. So the material in these lessons are not easily assimilated, figured out. You need time for reflection. It's not going to be something that's just going to, oh, I'm going to win instantly. It may take you a while to pick things up. But do you have the conviction? Or do you, turn whichever way the wind blows? I really think my journey is to inspire you to do your own research. Don't know if people will do that. It's what I do. And by the way, we have to fight, all of us, not just you, but me. It's easy to be lazy in science and systems analysis. Because fantasy sport, it used to take a while to get that feedback, right? You draft in, for me, April, May, June, July, August. Oh, yeah. Do I get feedback? Probably about December. I know about, then you're, well, I forgot about that. Why did I draft that person in May? So you need some method to keep up. Let's call it a decision diary. I would start that on your next draft. Keep track of your drafts. Are you good at analyzing rookies or not? If you are, great, then use that to your advantage. If not, don't try to soar with a weakness. Either get better to make it a strength or just manage the weakness. Deal with it. Can I show up drunk at my draft and use a one-page ranking page, tips, whatever the websites sell you on the radio and thing? The one page, quick, no, you can't. So my approach is going to be anti-direct. I'm going to try to get you to thinking about chopping some wood, building your conviction. It's going to take years. I'm going to be just straight up with you. Unless you've already got a science engineering background and you understand stats and can put and analyze systems, break apart things, put it back together, it's going to be tough. Not everybody's going to do it. I'm just sorry. Not everybody's going to make this journey here. I have students. Not everybody gets to medical school. What do you tell them? I want to go. I wish everybody could get everything they want. But Santa Claus is not real. So I'm going to try to teach you to chop some wood, see what happens. So it's almost philosophical. Science is a philosophical thing. It is. That's why it's called a PhD. There's a philosophy of science. You won't master everything that we'll go over. If I hand fan you, if I chop the wood for you, it's not the same, and you know that. If you've had families or brothers, sisters, or you raised your own kids or gonna have kids, if you do that for them, then that really stunts them in their long term. Make them work for it a little bit. Make them earn, right? Do some chores. Many in the fantasy world you're going to hear are going to give you supposed fire, but they're not going to teach you how to chop the wood. They're going to say funny words, and fire you up. They have a voice that gets loud and boisterous and carrying on. Uh, you know, the loudest one at the party, right? Yeah, I understand. It's entertaining. Funny music, funny little quizzes and jokes and yucks. I'll let the 90% play that. Okay. Yes, I have a sense of humor. Okay. Hope to wean you off that, though, and help you learn your own journey, your own scholarship in research. That's part of it. I wouldn't be a PhD if I didn't show you confusing diagrams. This actually means something. I made this, okay, so I understand it. Versus if you look at it, it's going to take you a while to get it because you didn't make it. Okay. I'm not going to go over all of it now, but I'm just throwing this out. And this was, I think I made this back in 2018, so some of the dates or something. But it's like, you mean there's not one or two easy things? No, 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 no. It's not. And I do have a little sense of humor. You'll find it here. This is my final if thoughts for this lesson. So everything starts with an if. If you think you can master this material in a short time, you cannot. If you consider your success or luck, you are underestimating luck and you're overestimating your skills. All of us. That's part of human nature. Just saying. Luck plays more of a role than you think. If you think you win with just a quick little list, you cannot. If you wait till a week before your draft, it's too late, folks. If you treat all position league formats the same, you will lose. If you think winning is easy, you're wrong. If you approach fantasy without knowing yourself, you lose. If you're easily influenced by last week's sensationalness, you lose. If you develop a plan without understanding value and understanding uncertainty, you lose. If you draft the top of a player's worth, especially in Dynasty, you'll bankrupt your team. If you accept everybody's hot takes, you'll find your team frozen out in the playoffs. If you assume all loud talking pundits are right, you're wrong and so are they. If you associate winning with a negative rate of return on your investment, you lose. If your experts don't discuss their failures, they and you lose. Okay? I'm not good in Dynasty. I'm going to just tell you straight up. I'm learning, but boy, I'm tired of paying for my education. I'm ready to win. But I only have one league. I haven't played 100. I figure if I can't beat one league, why would I try to invest any more? And it may not be something I ever win. It's a weakness. Okay. Just don't play it. Put all my eggs in the redraft basket. If you think bad luck's your problem, you're blind and you will lose. If you consider folks you'll hear with slick answers, they will lose your money quicker. Your money bankroll will go out the door. If your experts use data to find their questions, they and you are clueless. So that's my if thoughts. I hope you enjoyed. Even though it was 11 slides, I can talk. I've been doing that for a long time. Hopefully this gave you some thinking, and I will continue this journey. Please come back if I've incited your thinking. If not, good luck. I hope I play you in my leagues. And by the way, I don't use my name, so you don't know who it is behind that funny moniker. Okay, good luck. More later. Next lesson coming.